Picture this, a mall Santa spreading festive cheer, with a twinkle in his eye and a sinister secret lurking beneath the festive facade. In this episode, we unravel the disturbing story of a serial killer who not only adorned the red suit, but terrorized a community, all while concealing his true nature behind the joyous season. My name is Kayla, this is Xenu,
Merry Christmas!
and we are Cauldron Convos, baby.
Happy New
Ooh.
Year. Have you ever been sitting on a Santa Claus lap? And you
Oh.
think, oh, maybe this guy's a serial killer.
We're even wearing our Christmas sweaters for you.
That old blue donkey.
That'll do.
Grinch will
fit. Yeah.
Grinch fit.
I was thinking of Oscar the Grouch. Is Grinch and Oscar related?
That's a whole episode.
Or are they lovers?
The Grinch is not very hygienic, and Oscar likes a good garbage can.
He has to bear the stank.
The
and
onion.
stunk. Between 2010 and 2017, 8 men disappeared from the neighborhood Church and Wesley, an LGBTQ village of Toronto, Canada. Eventually, the search led to Bruce McArthur. Bruce McArthur was a 66-year-old self-employed landscaper and mall Santa who was arrested on January 18th of 2018 for his disturbing crimes.
I can't believe he was arrested so recently. I didn't hear about this guy.
Me neither, because it was in Canada. That's what happens.
Oh, Canada.
Additionally, the criminal investigation of Bruce McArthur became the largest ever conducted by the Toronto Police Service.
Many people criticize the Toronto Police's handling of the initial missing persons investigation.
Which, as a result, led to several internal reviews, some external reviews, and the formation of a dedicated missing persons unit.
I bet they have a hard time finding work to do.
Let's start at the very beginning of this serial killer's life. How did this young little boy, oh, that sounds weird, turn into a mall Santa that was also murdering people in Canada? So McArthur was raised on a farm in a very small town in Ontario, Canada. And he was raised by religious parents. And in addition to his biological sister that he was raised with, he was also raised amongst fostered troubled children from Toronto, often with 6 to 10 at their care in any given time. Now, I don't want to put the blame on that because that's a nice thing for the parents to do.
No good deed goes unpunished.
But then, like, the sister, where is she? Watch her be, like, also, like, a notorious serial killer in Canada. But
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I doubt it.
It affects everybody
It's
differently.
like a college story.
Yeah.
An essay. McArthur alleges that his father was harder on him because his father sensed his lack of masculinity. But isn't that what fathers are for? And I'm a woman, and that's how I felt. Sorry. Maybe that's just me. Depends on the father, I guess. If their father was hard on them, then they're going to do the opposite. But if their father wasn't hard on them, then they're going to be hard on you. They might be hard on you, a little too hard. What? They do. They do. I'm like, everyone, this is... Bruce McArthur eventually came out to his wife, but they continued living together for the children.
I think that's an Irish thing. I know multiple Irish couples that are divorced that live in the same house.
Who? Are they in the potato famine? I've never met
No,
these
that's a
people.
thing. It's a culturally Irish.
But then they ended up going through some financial difficulty. They went bankrupt, partially because of legal issues, because their teenage son named Todd was obsessively making obscene phone calls to women he did not know.
That's just a classic prank.
Like,
Sorry.
where is Todd now? Like, if Todd's dad is Bruce McArthur and he's a gay man that killed 8 people in Canada, and this guy was already, as a teenager, the cause of his parents' bankruptcy because he kept calling and making obscene phone calls to
Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wait.
So when McArthur and his wife eventually separated, McArthur then moved to Toronto, specifically in a community that's known for being gay. He often went to the bars of Church and Wellesley, the Toronto gay village. I wonder if some mayor had the red rope and had a giant pair of scissors, and I'm like, this is opening of the gay village of Toronto.
Get in there.
They were dubbed the name. Boys, run! And they're all a bunch of gay guys like, ah. And then McArthur had a 4-year-long relationship with another gay man. But after they broke up, McArthur ended up going to therapists and he was prescribed Prozac as a result. Not that that really matters because I wouldn't want anyone to hold anything like that against me or anyone that I know. Just because you go through a rough patch, who cares? You see a therapist. So
Your heart's
what?
broken.
Join the damn club. Everyone in 2023, well, I guess this was 2018. Times were different. This was pre-COVID. But then he tried working as a self-employed landscaper, like we all have thought about.
If you got a lawnmower and 2 legs, you could do it. I feel like it's one of those like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok side hustles.
No, that's power washing.
Oh, that guy.
That device is a little bit more complicated than the lawnmower. The first attack that our mall Santa Bruce McArthur, the gay one in Toronto Village.
Okay, stop saying the gay one.
He is.
We get it. He's gay.
Oh, now I'm the controversial one of the two.
You just keep saying
Fine.
gay.
The first attack by Bruce McArthur was actually on Halloween night. Ooh. It was October 31st of 2001 when McArthur was invited into an actor and a model named Mark Henderson's apartment. This guy was invited to Mark Henderson's apartment? What the hell? But when they went to his apartment, McArthur decided to strike
Oppose.
Henderson. No, he struck him. McArthur struck Henderson several times from behind with an iron pipe that he often carried. So Henderson actually attempted to fight back, but then he lost consciousness. When he woke up, he called 911 and was taken to the hospital after suffering several injuries to his head and body and needed several stitches on the back of his head and his fingers. McArthur actually turned himself in after the attack, which is kind of shocking to me, claiming he did not remember the incident or why he even did it to begin with. He pleaded guilty to charges of assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm and received a conditional sentence of 729 days, which is 2 years less than a day. Wow.
2 years.
Less a day.
Oh, 2 years? What?
365 times 2. 2 years less a day. It's not 2 years. It's like 1 year 364, depending on if it's a leap year.
Hate to see it.
The Crown Attorney agreed to a conditional sentence after psychiatric reports suggesting McArthur was a low risk to reoffend. How ironic. There were also some notes that McArthur's unexplained behavior may have been due to the combination of his anti-seizure medication with amyl nitrite, which is a muscle relaxant which is sometimes taken recreationally before sex. McArthur ended up avoiding incarceration and instead spent the first year of his sentence under house arrest. Wait, so he did! He did avoid it, followed by a 6-month curfew and 3 years of probation. He was not allowed to go into the neighborhood except for work and medical appointments and could not spend time with male prostitutes. Can you spend time with any prostitutes in general in America in 2018?
In Las Vegas, you can, yeah.
Oh. So he's like, you can't go to... Oh, wait, this is Canada.
Yeah.
I forgot. Sorry. Can you in Canada?
Maybe. I think that's a hippie Canada thing.
He also had to submit his DNA to a database and was compelled to undertake psychological and psychiatric counseling, including anger management. In 2014, McArthur was granted a record suspension on the conviction, which was subsequently expunged from his record and would not have appeared in criminal background checks during subsequent investigations. Now, most records and exhibits were destroyed in 2010 in compliance with Toronto Police Service retention policy. So I guess they could only keep it for a certain amount of time, which is kind of stupid. If you like murdered someone 8 years ago, it's just like, oh, no, this is our policy. We have to file it in the fireplace. Okay. Sorry.
In Canada, you can sell sex legally, but you cannot legally purchase it.
Okay, so they specify that he can't get a male prostitute, but it's like, oh, we can't spend time with. So maybe it's like, no, you can't even go to dinner with them. McArthur registered with Reckon, which is a gay fetish dating website for men into BDSM, where his profile noted his interest in submissive men. He was also on a few other gay dating websites such as Silver Daddies, Man Jam. What's your favorite
Sounds
jam?
like a Dead cover band.
Grape,
Man.
orange, strawberry.
Oh, man jam.
It's like Toe Jam, but for men. Bear 411. Bear Forest, Scruff, Daddy Hunt, Squirt, and Growl.
Squirt's its own website?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the soda.
I bet PepsiCo is going to be suing you over that.
Wait, did they own Squirt?
No, I think Squirt's actually independently owned. Google it.
They're owned by Chick-fil-A. They're like a Christian
Wait,
organization.
Google Squirt ownership. Dr. Pepper.
Keurig Dr. Pepper.
Dr.
They also own
Dr.
Hawaiian
Pepper.
Punch. That is so them. McArthur made a Facebook in 2011. Welcome to the club, McArthur. We've all been there. And he uploaded many photos of his parties, his vacations, birthday dinners, and concerts he went to. And they were a little bit wild, okay? This is Bruce McArthur we're talking about. And McArthur was now a regular at gay bars in the community, and his 2003 banishment from church in Wellesley remained well known, and he had developed a reputation for BDSM and rough sex. So that's kind of like kinky. Like it's like he's well known in the community for like beating someone, but then they're also like, well,
Lord have mercy.
They're just like, he's a really good dom.
Well, that's probably where it comes from. You take it too far and you get aroused.
Oh.
That's what happens.
But during the off-season, McArthur portrayed Santa Claus at Agincourt Mall and made floral gifts for charities. So this man was, your child sat on his lap. Yeah, you watching this. No, I shouldn't say that. What?
No.
Well, your child could be sitting on some weirdo's lap.
You know, there are two types of people that are Santa Claus. Well, three, because there's the real Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
There's the nice old man that's just trying to do something for his community.
Really? Do any nice old men? Well, I don't want to say that.
3.
I clearly have grandpa issues.
3.
It's like daddy
Do
issues,
you know,
but for grandpa.
it's going to be the weirdos. The guys that want little kids to sit on their laps and say their deepest desires.
But like if I applied to be a Santa Claus at a mall and then they denied me, could I be like, that's sexist?
Probably.
Well, I guess that'll be
sue
Mrs.
them.
Claus.
We're gonna sue them.
We're gonna sue you, Alan.
I'll be the elf. I'll be the elf. I'll say cheese.
I'll say cheese. What?
1, 2, 3, cheese.
I don't think elves do that. I think they just.
First of all, they're
Jingle
not
some
real
bells.
elves. I have a whole problem with mall Santas.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
they don't have real elves.
his son Todd, the one we talked about before, was reported to have difficulty accepting his father as gay. And in 2014, Todd was sentenced to 14 months in jail for making multiple obscene phone calls. Remember?
Yeah.
The whole legal thing, yeah. Okay, so now we get into Project...
Oh my god, what type of phone calls do you get a freaking year in jail for?
He must have been making... Like, he's going down the whole Club Penguin database. No. Project Houston. In November 2012, the Toronto Police Service launched a task force called Project Houston into the September 2010 disappearance of Skandaraj, aka Skanda Navaratnam, believing that he had been murdered but discovered no leads. According to a 2018 W5 investigation, a man posted on a cannibal website called Zambian Meat in 2012 that he had killed and eaten a man in Toronto, which had led to the formation of Project Houston. Police briefly investigated a possible link between Navaratnam's murder and convicted murderer Luca Magnotta, although this lead was eventually abandoned for lack of evidence. By June of 2013, Project Houston had identified...
That's the guy from Don't Mess with Cats.
Oh, shoot.
Luca Magnotta.
Disgusting, man. Okay, but by June 2013, Project Houston had identified 2 other missing persons cases linked by geography and lifestyle.
Interesting. It's almost like in Chicago.
Basir Fazi and Majid Hamid Kayan. All of these men were middle-aged immigrants of South Asian origin who disappeared from Church and Wellesley between 2010 and 2012. Now, the police received an anonymous tip pointing McArthur to Navaratnam and Kayan. Project Houston concluded with no evidence to link the disappearances that a crime had been committed or to identify a suspect. According to a 2016 case summary, there was still nothing to explain what had happened to these men. Then we get into the missing rainbow community. On June 26th of 2017, one day after attending Pride Toronto, Andrew Kinsman disappeared from Cabbagetown. I'm sorry. I know he died and it was kind of recent, but like Cabbagetown. What kind of name is that?
We gotta go to Toronto.
I'm like, Cabbage Patch Kids? Do they come from Cabbagetown? Anywhom. But 2 days later, Andrew Kinsman's friends went to his apartment after realizing no one had heard from him for a couple of days. So they went to the Pride thing. No one heard from him. No one saw him. And it's been a few days now. So his friends went to his apartment as a result to see, how is he, whatever. They got into his apartment, but they found no sign of disturbance. There was nothing pushed over, nothing whatever. But his 17-year-old cat was left with no food or water.
Oh, did it die?
No.
Oh.
Well, I don't think so.
Fine.
I mean, it didn't say that his dead 17-year-old cat was out of food and water. It just said his 17-year-old cat was out of food and water.
Oh, that is fine.
So Andrew's friends reported his disappearance to the police the following day. Andrew Kinsman was openly gay, and he had deep roots in this community. People knew him as a stable and responsible man, and his friends pointed out that he would not just suddenly leave, especially not without his cat or taking his prescription medication.
Nuh-uh.
At the end of July of 2017, the police department created a new task force named Project Prism to investigate the disappearances of Andrew Kinsman and another man named Salim Esen. Also, to look for any links with the unsolved disappearances investigated under Project Houston, the one that we talked about right before this. A friend of Andrew Kinsman named Greg Downer actually set up multiple Facebook groups dedicated to finding Andrew and other missing men in the area. Then on November 29th, the body of Tess Ritchie was found in an alleyway 4 days after she went missing. The next day, police announced that the body of Alora Wells, a homeless transgender woman, had been identified, her body having been discovered in a Rosedale ravine in August. Now, this caused the community to have an uproar, and they thought that a serial killer was on the loose. Although the cases did occur close in proximity, police did not believe that they were related, and they stated they had no evidence of a serial killer. The investigation was difficult because of the lifestyles of the subjects who used dating apps and frequently met people they did not know and have these one-night affairs with them.
That's a dangerous lifestyle, guys. You've got your girlfriend, Rosie Palm.
Or Rose Palm.
Yeah, boyfriend, too.
I don't know why that's the name I thought of. What's a male, ending of a name? Rosanathan.
Rosanathan.
You have Rosanathan Palm, okay?
That sounds like an STD.
It sounds like a shot that you would get to prevent something.
Yeah.
Rosanathan. I got my Rosanathan.
Did you get your Rosanathan?
According to a statement of facts read in court, police found Bruce on Andrew Kinsman's calendar for the night that he went missing.
Always write down your
Tinder dates.
Yeah.
The names. Specifically, I'm writing down the username, the IP address. But they also got surveillance video outside of Andrew Kinsman's residence that showed a person matching Andrew's appearance approach a red vehicle specifically. But how many red vehicles could there be in Toronto, Canada? A billion.
50,000.
Something crazy. But the video didn't show a license plate or a clear picture of the driver. However, the chrome siding of the vehicle identified the car as specifically a 2004 Dodge Caravan.
That would be a fun job at the FBI.
Yeah, I guess.
To match. Well, this is in Canada, so the
CBI. It's definitely not what it's called. It's called actually maybe it's the Crown Bureau Investigation. Sure, because they call it the Crown.
Cock and balls investigators. Anyway.
But there were more than 6,000 similar models in Toronto, but only 5 of them were registered to someone named Bruce. And of those 5, the only 2004 model belonged to Bruce McArthur.
Yeah, you can't commit crimes anymore. Stop trying.
There's too much data, however you want to say it. Either way, you're going to get caught, whether you say data or data. And then they matched the van from surveillance video of McArthur's apartment, but it was no longer at his residence. The van was no longer at his residence. So they were okay, so how we're going to, even though they have the video, even though the only person that, owns this car is Bruce McArthur, how are they going to pinpoint them together if it's not at the apartment still? Well, around September, tracking warrants had been obtained for vehicles and phones because of what they've found out so far. And police officers arrived at Dom's Auto Parts in Ontario as they were canvassing businesses for McArthur's 2004 Dodge Caravan. Because it's not at his house, so where did he sell it? Did he junk it? What did he do? Now, the owner, Dom, of Dom's Auto Parts in Ontario, shout out Dom, I wonder if you got more business, not from us, but use promo code ZNU10 for 10% off your Dodge Caravan.
This episode's brought to you by Saudi Arabia. Visit Saudi.org.
But the owner, Dom, confirmed that Bruce McAllister did sell Dom the 2004 Dodge Caravan in September. The police got the car. They towed it away. I hope they're paying Dom a hefty amount. Or do they even pay him?
Probably not.
Oh my God, they're just we're the police, give me that car.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man.
Welcome to the tyrannical government.
This is Canada though. This is a little different, So the police got the car, they towed it away, they copied the surveillance video of McArthur visiting the shop, and officers later found trace amounts of blood in the vehicle, later identified as Andrew Kinsman's. Now, DNA evidence from McArthur's van, which matched Kinsman in Essen, allowed investigators to obtain a general warrant for McArthur's apartment in December because they didn't have the general warrant. So then police covertly entered McArthur's residence and cloned his computer's hard drive. That's kind of crazy that you get a warrant and you could just go in and clone a hard drive.
Again, do not commit a crime.
On January 17th, two pieces of evidence came to light directly connecting McArthur to the disappearances of Essen and Kinsman. A partial download from McArthur's computer, which is going through forensic analysis of deleted files, yielded post-mortem photos of the victims. So he had them on his hard drive. He tried to delete them, but you can't delete things, baby.
Who?
Even when you delete it, it's still there.
No, but who takes photos like that?
We're over 2,000 years after Jesus. You don't think that people can retrieve your deleted files? Right? Round-the-clock surveillance was put on McArthur with instructions that he should be immediately arrested if observed alone with anyone. Now, police officers surveilling McArthur decided to apprehend him shortly after they saw a young man enter his Thorncliffe Park apartment on January 18th, 2018, believing the man's life was at risk. So they're tailing him, right? They have people on him. They're waiting until he has someone in his bed, basically. And a source told CTV News that the officers found the young man restrained on a bed when they entered McArthur's apartment. The man was shaken but not injured. Referred to in court as John, the man had arrived in Canada from the Middle East 5 years earlier. He was married and had not told his family that he was gay. He had met Bruce McArthur through dating app Growl, said that they had met for sex several times. He had agreed to keep his relationship with McArthur secret and let himself be handcuffed to McArthur's steel bed frame. So, he consented to that. But McArthur put a black bag over his head and tried to tape his mouth shut before police officers interrupted him.
Unreal.
But how crazy that's
That's a weird. So that's clearly a sexual thing, because if he was a proper serial killer, think Dexter, he's just gonna stab him and watch him die. He wants gratification from them suffocating.
Yeah, but Dexter also wants gratification by he wakes them up.
Yeah, but he's not jerking off.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want sexual gratification, but he wants some type of gratification. He's the good guy there. I don't know. According to CP24, the officers had a search warrant for the apartment, obtained after gaining blood evidence from McArthur's van. Police seized electronic devices from the apartment, including 5 cell phones, 5 computers, 3 digital cameras, and about a dozen USB flash drives. Evidence found in McArthur's apartment shortly after the arrest prompted investigators to charge him with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the presumed deaths of Kinsman and Essen. Their bodies had not been found at this point, but police said that they had a pretty good idea of how they died. A source told CTV News that photographs of the alleged victims found at McArthur's residence led to the charges. The Toronto Sun reported that McArthur's computer had grisly photos of his suspected victims kept as trophies. Cadaver dogs took a strong interest in large planter boxes on January 19th, because remember, Bruce McArthur is a landscaper. He was
definitely frozen then.
The planters had frozen to the ground, which required heaters to thaw them. A large planter was wrapped on January 22nd and brought to the coroner's office. On January 29th, police announced that they had found the dismembered skeletal remains of at least 3 people in 2 of 12 large planter boxes seized from the Leaside residence. Although the remains had not been identified at this point, police had gathered enough evidence to charge McArthur with 3 additional counts of first-degree murder in the presumed deaths of Majid Kayan, a Project Houston subject, Saroush Mahmoudi, who disappeared in 2015, and Dean Lisowick, a homeless man who was never reported missing. That makes me so sad.
Those are the worst.
When they never report someone missing, that was like a
They don't know that they're missing.
Because no one even cares. Sorry, I get sad. It's Christmas, okay? On February 8th, police announced that they had found the remains of 3 more people and planters from the Leaside residence, and that one of the 6 sets of remains belonged to Kinsman, identified through fingerprints. But it was going to be months before all of the remains were identified because of the...
winter, baby.
Frozen ground, baby. Sorry, we shouldn't be like, yeah, baby. Additional planters were seized from across the city. Cadaver dogs were having trouble even detecting scents due to the cold weather, so they have a hard time smelling in the cold, and because of the frozen ground. Beginning on January 19th, heaters in a large tent were used to gradually thaw the frozen ground in the backyard of the Leaside residence at a location indicated by both cadaver dogs and ground-penetrating radar. On February 23rd, McArthur was charged with the 6th count of first-degree murder in the death of Skandaraj Navaratnam. On April 11th, McArthur was charged with the 7th count of first-degree murder in the death of Abdulbasir Fazi. At this point, Bruce was charged with the deaths of all 5 men from the Project Houston and Project Prism investigations. In July, 20 police investigators conducted excavations in the forested ravine behind the Leaside property and collected human remains almost every day of this search. On July 20th, it was announced that the remains belonged to Kaon and that the remains of all of McArthur's alleged victims had been identified. During McArthur's sentence hearing, prosecutors said that the 8 victims had ties to Church and Wesley and a social life in that community. Physical similarities, which usually included facial hair or a beard, and 6 were from South Asia or the Middle East. It wasn't even just that, because several of the deceased had characteristics that made them more easily victimized or the crimes easier to conceal, such as moving between temporary residences or keeping aspects of their lives secret. So a lot of these people were actually like married to women, and their family didn't know they were gay.
Well, I'm assuming more along like the illegal immigrant route where
that too.
But I think if it's married to a woman and the guy disappears, the wife's gonna look for the man.
Yeah, but they don't know that they're on Grindr and stuff.
Well,
on January 29th, McArthur pleaded guilty to each of the 8 first-degree murder charges that he was facing, ending the possibility of any trial. McArthur kept trophies from his victims, including jewelry and a notebook. DNA from 4 of the victims had been found in McArthur's van. McArthur had hundreds of post-mortem photographs of his victims, which were recovered forensically after he tried to delete them. He took staged post-mortem photographs, typically with ropes around their necks, or with them nude in a fur coat or hat. Some photographs had them with their heads and beards shaved, with McArthur having kept their hair in Ziploc bags in a shed at Mount Pleasant Cemetery.
It's like what your mom did when your dog died.
She didn't keep it in a cemetery.
No, she kept it in the house.
I wanted to feel what my dog felt like. How dare you?
Oh, I look like the bad guy.
You're just jealous because you don't have your dead dog's hair. Sorry. Sorry. It's too much. On February 8th, McArthur was sentenced to life imprisonment with no parole eligibility for 25 years. That's not that long.
How many people did he kill? 8?
Yeah. You would think, I feel like in America, they're like, no parole.
No, he would get like 8 death sentences.
Yeah, he's like, you have to live to 800 to even think about
No, it's going to be
out.
8 consecutive life sentences, meaning that, or non-consecutive, where one, when you die, the next life sentence begins. It's like, that's such a fuck you.
But it did make me feel a little bit better that they said that it would be highly unlikely he would be granted parole, and he could only apply for parole at 91. So, like, at that point...
No, they might give it to him at 91.
But you know what they also said? He has type 2 diabetes and he's obese, so he's probably going to die before then. That's what they said.
The article?
Yeah.
Dude, the Canadian...
Like the judge or something.
The judge? Oh!
They're like, he's already obese and has type 2
John
diabetes.
Cena!
Yeah, they're not that good at... It's not as like America where they're like, okay, like, you might live, baby. This is Canada. They're like,
they
no.
can't afford that. They're socialists.
But also, like, they eat fish. They eat salmon, like the bears. So they can't be obese. What? Is that just a stereotype? Maybe that is. I'm just thinking of the bears. We hope you liked this Merry Christmas video. I know it's so...
Merry Christmas.
So amazing. So pleasant.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to our family, to yours. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this channel for the past year or so, or more. You could have been here since the beginning. I hope you weren't, because dang, that was weird when I was doing those. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to this channel. Comment down below any fun little things about Santa Claus and mall Santas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We
wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Bye! If you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe for weekly videos and think about becoming a member if you've seen some of these videos and you're like, wait, I like these videos, but I wish I had more videos.
We do members only live streams.
For all of you audio listeners, make sure to rate this 5 stars if you feel like it. That would be so nice because we got to bump this podcast up on the audio side, okay?
Bump it up.
Bump it up, bump it up. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening and let's get back to the podcast.